You know, I just had to check it out. So, they don't give you much in the way of instructions, but I've seen that on the internet. This is the main frame parts over here. The main frame, the little motor skirts for underneath, whatever you call them. Little capture devices, tunnels for the arms, for the ESC wires. These are little rubber battery mounts of all sorts of kinds, it looks like. So that's kind of understandable as all part of the frame over there. Of course, all of this is part of the frame. But some of these things, I'm not quite sure what they are. I know the little black things in there is described as cable tie downs. I'm not sure what the other little parts are yet. This is either a camera mount or a GPS mount. I think it's more a camera mount, but we'll find out later. This is a camera mount for a GoPro. I'll be using it. I'll be using my Running Cam Orange. This is all sorts of camera mounts, GPS mounts for different setups and stuff. Side plates are pretty understandable. A couple of battery straps. A plethora of screws, standoffs. Don't even want to open that bag yet. Some decals, and then one electronic component, which finally looked at it with a magnifying glass. It's a single LED. It was interesting they sent that along. So anyway, I thought I would start looking at this a little bit. I'm not going to get into it deeply at this time. And for this video, we're going to kind of move away from this and let me show you over on the computer the build I'm going to try to follow with this, my intention to follow with this. So I had looked at many 7-inch quadcopter builds for several weeks, months. Didn't find any that slapped me. And then I ran across this one on the Ardu Pilot site, and it looked pretty good to me. It is a year old. It is over a year old at this point. Therefore, there were changes in that year that some might not agree with me following this the way I am. This is the parts list. If you look at the little piece of paper I've been showing you of the parts that's been coming in for this, I scraped through this right here like that and copied it into Word. That's how I bought my parts. That's why mine and this one says TBS Tracer. I'm not going to use that. That's why it also says TBS Tracer antennas down here. I won't be using them. I'll put a link to this in the video description. So, again, I've already said there are motors out there that are perhaps better for this platform than these now a year later. That's my opinion from what I've been seeing. Maybe the 1250 for various reasons would be much better. I don't think that would increase this one's distance or flight time by 2. I think it's going to be a percentage, and it's not going to make this one not fly. You remember I did the little mistake of not ordering this one straight up and
got that corrected now. I just didn't really care for this flight controller. Whatever. But you can see here, this gives me parameters. I'm not doing a DJI, so I'll have to look at these to see what the difference is. And then it gives a step-by-step videos. Gentlemen, I've been through all the videos already. The gentleman knows a whole lot more about Ardu than I do. Gets into some deep stuff when he gets into harmonic notch filters, etc., etc., etc. I am not going to get this information from watching these videos one time, and I think there's about 20 of them. And you can just go over on the YouTube and look at them directly. I'll look at that here in a second. So you've got all sorts of parameters they're helping you with. If you follow the parts list and his instructions, which I'm going to as closely as I possibly can, knowing that in a year, more than a year, new technologies, etc., have come out for this particular frame even. So got a 5-inch build here. No, I'm not building another one at this time. This one turned out to be too expensive. So if you go over on his YouTube channel here, you can, Andy Piper, looks like. Thank you, sir. I cannot tell you how much this has been. I'll go ahead and put a link to this in the description also. This is video 1 of, I think, 20. 26. So that's my intention for the, and I'll put a link to both. I'll put the link to this, and I'll put a link to his, directly to his boy, I'm going to have to cut this and post. His playlist.
Okay, so...
And I'll put a link into his playlist here in the description too. So, Jiminy, what else to say about this? I guess not much. We'll say I followed his parts list directly. Most of his, he did use this in his videos. So I right straight off the bat, I'm not going to be able to follow wire for wire, solder point for solder point, exactly what he did, because I will be using the H743 Slim. I am using the Unify Pro. I won't be able to follow any of his instructions for the TPS tracer. I'll be using a TPS Nano Pro, Nano RX Pro. He does hook up the UART in the camera. I don't know that I'll actually do that. We'll discuss that as we get to that step. Because I've watched all the videos, I'm kind of jumping ahead here. Oh man, I've got a lot to learn. I've never used B-Heli before. I've used 4-in-1 ESCs, but they were just, I'll show you, even I've got them around here still. They're ancient. They're 10 years old. I'll show you what I have worked with. And then the battery, like I say, my battery's different. It's a race day quad, 6,500 milliamp hour, 6S 100C battery that I ordered. But other than that, straight up, those are the only differences going to be in my build from his build videos. Flight controller solder points and the receiver, basically. So that's my intentions. That's my plans. I'm still open to input. Tell you the truth, I'm about 25% on switching out the motors for 1250 or whatever the current motors are for this particular frame. I don't think they're still the 1300 kV. I think they came down in kV a little bit, and they may have a little taller windings on them size-wise. Don't know for sure, haven't looked into it. That's why I'm 25% ready to send back those 4 motors, but I haven't really checked into the others. If I change those motors, all of this tune, everything down through here where he's auto-tuning, etc., 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 where he's pre-tuning the PIDs before he flies it, will be thrown out the window. So only 25% of me, unless somebody comes up with a real grand reason why I should deviate. I'm going to stick as close to this as possible. All right. Thanks again, guys.